Hello, all of you delightful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Razim, currently as Nevis, King of Conquerors, and this is 2 Point Museum. And we also have Conrade down there in the bottom left working on art.
And this is digging deeper.
Or at least he will be in a moment. Starting a new model up. Also,
magic sticks. Let's start.
Unfortunately, everybody, we are going to be doing a fundraiser today.
Feel the backhand of justice.
Oh, damn.
Conrad got mugged. Thankfully, they didn't really get any money from him, but they did take his phone. And he kind of really needs a new phone as a result. So, the tip goal is set up. If you guys can help, or if you want to get a 3D model, whatever you can do, please message or tip or such. Let's get Conrad recovered from this, alright?
A generous bestowal.
Thank you so much, Tal.
Tipped $20, 10%.
Which today comes from Brad K. Raymond, who believes he saw Bigfoot. In his recount, Brad writes, "As I walked slowly through a dim, dark forest, I chanced upon a tall, towering, hairy, shaggy creature."
Thank you so much for that, Tal. Let me send off that pack to you there, Ducks.
Silent trees.
Which, by the way, I need to add a card for the Nevis model there.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Brad hopes to
The Nevis model is also doing the big jittery, so I like the caffeine effect on him. It works very well.
It does. The model is incredible. Like, seriously, Conrad, if you're hearing and listening, I don't know, but you did an incredible job on this. By far, you are just getting better and better every single model. It's impressive. Look at the Oh, I did not realize that that was set up there. One moment. Where is it? Checkbox. Yes, move that down. That'll work. But seriously, look at the detail on this. Look at that fur detail.
It's very nice.
The tattoo is amazing. The lip sync is just on point. The eyebrows are nice and great. Seriously, so good. And Candy makes me pixelized. Trying to show off his work, and you guys do this to me.
All_around tipped $5. Quack.
Thank you so much for that tip, Ducks. Thank you for the support. Digimon Love, thanks for that follow.
Unwavering purpose.
Alright, let's see here. I need to attract 10 science enthusiast guests through marketing.
Hey, Digi.
Oh, hey, Enja. Hello, Blue Bat.
This might be a gray.
What might be a gray?
Oh, I'm trying to rework the move boxes to be, like, more inclusive of stuff, because now we have more stuff.
Ah.
So, I'm doing, like, the color thing.
They keep saying not enough bins. How many more bins do you want?
Enough to fill up all those requests for more bins. Like, you know, when you ball it up and throw it in the trash. They want to have enough afterwards.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Vandals caught vandalizing. We stopped them, obviously.
Yeah, just fill your bins with bins. That'll make them happy, totally.
Seriously, this model looks so good.
It does.
A wise choice for leader.
Ducks_all_around has purchased 1 avatars and Martin's packs.
Thank you so much for that purchase, Ducks. Whoa, whoa, whoa! How? Where is one of my security guards? You! Stop that criminal!
Some prehistoric artifacts exist to this day. Don't be the reason that changes. Attention. Thieves have been prevented from escaping. Phew.
Frickin' thief trying to steal my artifacts and stuff.
Let's go live to the Bone Belt and join Monty Barnett at the excavation site of the legendary Spear of Ultimate Power.
Hello, Haley! You've joined me just in time as the last specks of dust are brushed off the spear that's set to make its owner invincible. It's calling to me, Haley.
I command pure chaos! Kinda.
Ducks_all_around has turned Taldarius into a Eevee. They can only talk like that Pokemon for 2 minutes.
Eevee. EVVV.
I am very concerned about what I am hearing in the background of
Seems
my...
we've lost Monty for now.
That, somebody was apparently getting murdered there. I blame Mala. When in doubt, Mala is always a good target.
We'll try to rejoin him straight after this.
Please join me. in
Hey, the
saying
adorable
farewell to the
floofy Vivi,
expedition team.
Theolord
May
Beerus
they
is sending
never
you a
come
hug.
back.
Because of that right there, Mala. Because of that right there. For shame.
Abui.
Alright, do this. You know, here it is. You should definitely come by tomorrow for our Wild Traditions tabletop RPG campaign, where you can see Nova in action.
Yeah. He's my timer is up, so I can talk normally again. Yeah, he's normally a little he's normally a dumb little bwee, but now he's got a temp evo, so he's a dumb little jolty.
Actually, that will be that dissipated. Did my Discord just reset? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. But he would be getting reset after that battle.
Oh, I figured. It just hasn't happened officially yet, so, you know.
Fair.
Currently, technically speaking, he is still a dumb little jolty instead.
Which is more important than the dying Riolu.
The dying Riolu, yeah, the Riolu that got struck by lightning. Nope, not important at all. Look at the Eevee who is now a Jolteon and steadfastly does not believe you when you say that he's gotten bigger. That's the important part. Nice. Nova's little gimmick is that he's basically going to have Pokemon Adventures manga like V's ability of like changing to various evolutions, except his is completely uncontrolled. He does not control what evolution he is in any way ever.
So Iridis, we actually play a we've been developing a system over the last 2 years, a tabletop RPG system called SCAR, or Stories and Creatures in Alternate Realities. We've got several games running on the channel with it. Later tonight, we've got we're actually going to be doing dev work on the SCAR system. And we also have one of our Digimon tabletop RPGs tonight. And yeah, the SCAR system is really good. I may be tuning I'm totally the thing is that I am biased, but also I'm not wrong. By all accounts, people have been having an absolute blast with it.
Has low prices. It's the gift that keeps on gifting.
Well, I guess there is one exception, but also they just kind of don't want an actual system anyways.
I do like the occasional talks about like going back to Pokeroll, and I'm just like, you guys didn't learn Pokeroll either. What's that gonna change?
The expedition team are back on the surface.
Y'all lost all credibility on that when I had to explain the same thing for the 4th time in a single fight. True, Hunter got brought up, so now I'm bringing back Shade in Hunter's hat.
True. Hunter did have the biggest blast.
Also, I kind of can't decide, so like, real quick, I kind of like the bottom one more.
The bottom one?
On the thing I sent you real quick.
Oh, okay. I'm just...
Yeah, I kind of... Because I'm expanding.
Gift shop requires an assistant.
I'm thinking about making it look like this now.
I think I like that, like the EXP tracker on the bottom as well.
Yeah.
It's not something that people really need access to a lot, that information. It's really good to have there, but it's not like they need it all the time.
Yeah. I also figured that, like, it just visually looks better, but also,
Yeah.
like, you know. I also like having the boxes at the bottom, but yeah, so it was... But yeah, I'm thinking about having it look like that now, just because we kind of need more space anyway, so...
Paranoid. Unless you're a thief, you can keep going.
We need more metal. Let's send off for metal. We also need to mulch more plants for the Mulchomatic 3. But we can worry about that later.
Honey, the heating's broken again.
Before you buy a new boiler, stop. Get the Pumpatron 6000 heat pump instead.
Very nice,
Also,
here it
that's-
is.
Yeah, that's I like designs like that.
I like it
Then
too.
again, also, I change stuff is always like a yes for me. I love that stuff.
Double bonus.
Yay! The final head of a Hydrohydrosaurus. And thus that fossil is complete.
Warm pumping it up. You won't even have to turn it on.
And now I need to send people off to get more knowledge about it.
Announcement. Staff in need of medical attention. Thank you.
Come on.
What was that?
Oh, I said Hakamo. Because
Oh.
one showed up and I caught it.
Announcement. Analysis complete. Learn anything good?
Oh, hey, it's the cutest little trader.
Expedition team returning from...
Ah, hello, Brian.
Duke.
Though, Brian is no longer the worst trader. That honor now belongs to Be Traitorous.
Ah. I haven't been around for this joke, so this one's new to me.
Oh, it's just about how, you know, every time we turn around, Mala is, you know, betraying Era's orders.
Ah, yeah. That does sound like them.
Literally every time we turn around.
Also, it just reminds me of my favorite Helsing abridged joke every time the word, like, someone being called a traitor, comes up, because, they made... Have you ever watched Helsing abridged?
I have not.
Have you watched Helsing?
Uh...
The vampire one? They're like, not vampire, why did I say that? The, like, animated Alucard...
No.
No? Okay. Well, so at one point, there's the Helsing organization, and so there was this guy, he was in charge of it, he had a brother and a daughter. And instead of passing it down to his brother, who was an adult, he passed it down to, like, you know, his child daughter. But the uncle, like, kills the, like, you know, poisons and kills the father, who then, like, you know, tries to kill the little girl, but then, you know, awakens Alucard, which is Dracula spelled backward, to defend her. Yada, yada, yada. Plot. In the abridged version, they said, you know, the father was like, "And I'm so glad that you, my brother Richard Trey Toro Helsing, will look after my daughter." Which means his name in the abridged version is, in shorthand, Dick Trader.
Okay,
It's
that's
Richard
great.
Trey Toro.
That's great.
Staff should see.
And then there's also the very funny joke where like, you know, the daughter's like, "You killed my father," and he's like, "Oh, no, I didn't kill your father. The poison killed him. I murdered your father."
There. Bigger staff room. Oh, jeez, Kieran. There are some names out there that you just look at them and you're like, okay, were their parents clueless or did they actually know what they were doing?
Yeah. Also, Mala, you say you miss Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, as if it didn't literally manage to, as an abridged series, finish out the entire series. Literally the entirety of Hellsing Ultimate is in the abridged series. They finished it. What do you mean you miss it? It's all there. You can go back and listen to Alexander Anderson quote Boondock Saints, his favorite movie, as much as you want. You can say the tagline of Bitches Love Cannons whenever you want. The whole thing is there. I just, when it started watching the scene again, and it just starts off with the daughter crying like, "I don't want to lose you, father." And he's just like, "Well, that's quite selfish, Integra. I'm dying here."
An exclusive peek at the new series
Oh my
that claims
God.
to cast new light on ETs.
Millennia ago, they came to Earth to help humanity evolve. Now they're back, and this time they need our help. Incontinence, confusion, and an unwavering conviction that medical professionals are stealing from them. These are just some of the challenges humankind faces as these ancient otherworldly beings return to live out their final...
Yeah, I will absolutely facilitate Zim watching the entirety of Hellsing Ultimate Abridged.
Senile aliens.
There's
Oh, no.
too many
Sounds
good
like essential
taglines.
viewing. We'll be back after this with an update from Monty.
Expedition complete. Fetch the crowbar.
True, I also know that Digi also quite likes Hellsing Ultimate Abridged.
Analysis complete. Our collective knowledge...
When am I gonna
has
find
increased.
time for that?
You do video nights occasionally.
I haven't done those in forever. I should again, though.
Power the tunnels.
Besides, like, the entire thing is, like, the length of a movie.
Oh, well, fair enough then. I thought it was akin to, like the DBZ one that somebody made me start watching forever ago, and it was like...
There's like 10 episodes.
Okay, and yeah, we can do.
And each of the episodes are, like, generally speaking, like, 15 to 20 minutes.
I guess we could actually make that a React thing. I do have a setup for that. Probably would get copyright claimed out to the wazoo, but...
Now I'm just remembering all the most hilarious scenes of this, and now I want to go watch it again. By the way, this is when you watch it, you'll realize that I've quoted this multiple times in games, actually.
Go ahead, Brian. At least if you're planning to actually stick around this time. I know the last time you jumped into voice, you would, like, not even 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, actually, I'm gonna go.
Please say goodbye.
Wait, what?
You were saying you can hop in so long as you actually plan on sticking around this time, unlike last time.
No, I've got like 3 hours of not having to do anything.
I'm just saying,
Nice.
Last time you popped in, you, not even 5 minutes later, were like, actually, I gotta go.
I do apologize for that, of course. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got the RoboMod stop done. Which one is that?
That is very true. And God, I'm just remembering the fact that, like, not 10 years ago, like, 15 years ago in 2010, back when, like, 3D TVs were, like, actually a thing, they straight up went, no, that's a stupid fucking gimmick, and everyone knows it.
Oh, yeah, I
And
remember
15
those.
years later, it's aged like wine.
I will say, at one point, I had a 3D laptop that was capable of 3D, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is, nobody adopted that.
Yeah, so it just ended up being a stupid fucking gimmick.
But for the few games that actually did adopt, that did support it, it was absolutely cool.
I've just now also considered that any version of it, but especially the abridged version of Alucard and Shade would have a hilarious time fighting each other.
Museum security are operating in this area.
They both love to make fun of the other person and regenerate like a bitch the entire time.
God, that's gonna be weird to watch.
What? I was just bringing up that it would actually be pretty funny from like both perspectives. They would also probably end up getting tired of it after a little bit, but you know.
No, I completely understand it'll be really funny. I'm just saying, like, as somebody watching it in that standpoint, it's gonna be weird. It's like, oh, he regenerated. The enemy regenerated. He regenerated again. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Shade is so freaking broken.
He is, which is why he mostly uses his ability for gimmicks and actually goes by rules with just narrative brokenness. Usually. Like, you know, whenever he gets, like, his organ shot out of him, he's actually fine in health, but, like, you know, narratively, that's what's happening to him. But that also does mean that, canonically, his abilities are fucking broken.
You know what? Do it. We can make money for the channel.
No. But, you know, yeah, like, Shade is absolutely ridiculous, but at least he actually goes by stats.
Hey, Guru.
Howdy, Guru.
Even is his...
Yes, I remind
Okay, yeah, you know, now that you mention it, though, he does kind of have, like, a lot of bullshit going on, I will admit that. Looks at his 10 physical integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
With 30 health. To be fair, Merle, you know that that rock would do an unreasonable amount of damage for no reason.
Yeah, that rock very much did an unreasonable amount of damage.
Good news.
Hunter got vaporized because of it.
Yeah.
How's it going against the security team?
Another reason to pick it up again.
What?
Because I'm finding out stuff that I did not remember.
Spear, Monty.
About what?
Lost in Chaos.
Well, Lost in Chaos is a different game.
Yeah.
That's what I play Vaden. We're talking about Last Hope.
It's this Last Hope. Brain's a little fried.
The spear of ultimate power.
T_Garu tipped $10. Here's a bit for Conrad. And maybe an excuse for gathering more ethereal influence.
We've been digging deeper.
Thank you so much for that tip, Guru. Thank you for helping out. Yeah, for those that missed it, Conrad was unfortunately mugged. Thankfully, they didn't really take any money from him. He's just got to go through the process of getting new cards issued and such. But they did take his phone. And he kind of needs that. So we're trying to do a fundraiser today to get Conrad a new phone. So if anyone can help, please consider doing so. As always, you can commission him for a 3D model, or you can just tip to the channel today, and that'll go towards Conrad.
Where is it? Where's the secret? There it is.
Cafe food may taste cheap, and that's because.
But yeah, no, there is a reason that I generally play Shade's Allure abilities for jokes and japes rather than anything serious, because if I played it for serious things, it would be unreasonably broken.
Which, speaking of, we should figure out if we're doing Last Hope this Friday or this Piercing the Veil.
Yeah. Also, Garo, I will just let you know, Shade is, even just going by rules, he is very OP. He is very hard to kill.
Announcement: our conservation standards are being inspected.
Technically speaking, harder. He is technically speaking actually much harder to kill than no.
A resplendent offering.
No one takes our stuff.
Brian Magna tipped $50. How much is the Conrade in the window? He is a real cutie.
Wahaha.
Thanks for the tip. Oh, hey, we're almost halfway there.
Thank you so much for that, Brian. It is a huge help.
I do good because people need help and I love helping people.
Also, Garo, I will say this is a slightly unfair comparison due to the fact that, like, you know, he's a much higher level character. He's an attribute 20 character. He could literally stand there in Piercing the Veil as the rest of you tried to kill him, and he would be able to yawn and relax. He literally wouldn't have to fight you back.
That is scary, you know.
Yeah. But Garrett, I will remind you, the stormtroopers were actually fighting back. To be fair, I think the only character that, like, Shade... No, even Vayne couldn't kill Shade. Maybe. Maybe. He'd have to get really, really lucky. He'd have to get really lucky.
Check out the deals in the gift shop. They might be too good.
Well, no, that's because it is the same hat. It's the only thing that was left of Hunters, and Shade has it.
Oh.
It's literally the same hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Shade stuck around because he was reasonably sure he was, he would, even if he just stood there, he was pretty reasonably sure that he still would have survived.
I did catch one!
Can you hear the grease saturating your food as it cooks? Can you feel your arteries?
Okay, so I just gotta sit here and watch the bathroom. Got it.
Then degrease your diet with the Bungle Wind Oven. Now with 50% crispier air for that patented Bungle Crunch.
To be fair,
Wind Oven.
Shade's ability is not the most broken ability Kerr has given to a character of mine.
Thieves were caught before
Shade's ability is reasonable compared to what he originally gave to Riv.
Yeah.
The infinite lives, essentially.
No, that was lore. That was me coming up with background lore, because he said that reincarnation was a thing, and your characters could have, like, past lives, but, like, you know, so long as the core existed, you'd be a reincarnate of yourself. So I looked at that bit of lore, and I went, oh, hey, by the way, I'm writing out 143 previous lives for you. Do with this what you will. That was planned. That was just me doing the he who funny of, oh hey, there's a lore thing and I get to play with it.
Oh.
The unreasonable thing was Riv having abilities like the whole Vortigern, the whole Vortigern thing, data spike, dealing attribute damage. Like, damn.
Yeah, we need a way to kill the enemies. We do not need fucking, oh, you hit me, you're dead now.
No, that was the problem was also he had two abilities. So I had to make it a lore thing where he constantly sandbagged himself at all given times to try and lose, because with his actual power set there is no way that he would have lost, like Vortigern, because his power set included if he analyzed a move and it was used in like the same way, not creatively or like as a part of a combo or something, he would just be immune to it. And 2, anything he analyzed, like fully, completely analyzed, i.e. like froze or something like that, he could recreate out of ice. And this includes all of his past lives. So he could basically do the equivalent of generational Avengers ass pool of pull out his past lives in order to fight you too. The power set was ridiculous, so there's a reason why I literally just went, okay, so he just tries to lose.
I have to make it fair one way or another.
Yeah, well, he didn't want to win. So I decided to make it a character thing where he just actively tries to lose. Because if you're able to do that, and you've had a while to try and do that, you would have won already. You would have won so long ago.
Announcement. Stolen exhibit has been retrieved from thieves. No one takes our stuff.
Yeah, no, Shade is kind of OP, like, in terms of, like, the narrative implications, but in terms of, like, actual stats, he goes by actual stats. It's just also that we're, like, constantly on budget XP in that game, so I had to make what little we do have, like, actually super effective, so he just has, like, a really XP efficient build. I want more XP in that game.
In Last Hope?
Yeah. We're at 590 XP. I mean, Gar, to be fair, I'm literally the person who came up with a lot of the numbers and do all of the combat balancing. So if I want to make an efficient and strong build, I can make an efficient and strong build. I just tend to not go full efficiency mode, which is why I also explicitly don't really play a bunch of, like, conditioned characters, because conditioned characters for, like, have been the strongest ever since conditions were made. The closest is Riv. Riv does condition stuff.
Yes, fan.
It's not his main thing, but...
Alright, we have those 3 fish. Okay. Let's go get more fish. None of them there, so we'll send them off to this one.
Yeah.
Actually, this one's 15 tropical fish exhibits. Okay.
Yep, I do, when I make tutorial fights, they tend to be pretty decent tutorial fights. Just you wait until we get into like
Museum surveillance.
when I make these kinds of fights, I intentionally make it so that way numbers wise it's going to be close. But yeah, just you wait until you guys get like actual boss fight shit going on. That'll be fun. Also known as in my games, if I'm actually able to do the stuff that I normally do and want, I would not recommend sitting around with like 100 XP. That's probably a bad idea.
Unlike most of the other games where I kind of do that a lot because...
Yeah. But you also know you kind of can't afford to do that with my combat.
Yeah. Well, Starlight's an exception there, but...
Well, I wasn't allowed to make actual... Because I did the dumb agreement to not do that and not rush anything along.
Yeah.
And not make it feel like it had stakes. So of course I couldn't do actual combat. Yeah, and I do definitely encourage that, Guru. And now here's the interesting thing for you to think about now. Is how do you leverage that sort of stuff to gain combat advantages? Because out-of-combat stuff can be used in combat creatively.
Yes,
Yes.
of the cafe.
You know, if you look at an opponent that's wearing armor, and you want to, like, try and roll an appraise check to see if you can figure out if, like, you know, the armor has a flaw or weak point, I'll generally let people do that in order to gain some sort of ability. And yes, you could do that. That is very possible. It's just, you know, you have to actually do it.
Yeah.
You give a reason, a good explanation on why, and you can do quite a lot in Scar.
Yep. The nice part is that we explicitly reward instead of punish people for doing creative bullshit. Unlike other games where it's like, oh, you wanted to be very specific? Okay, you take a malice. And it makes it the correct choice to just be like, I swing sword. That is true. But the thing about being able to bullshit good reasons is that means you have to actually be paying attention to what's going on in order to bullshit a good reason. You know, if you go and make up a good bullshit explanation that actually fits, you're gonna get rewarded because it means you were paying enough attention and thinking about things actively enough to go and, like, you know, do that. There's a reason why I let Barnaby do some crazy stuff, even with difficulty, and it's because he's actually, you know, Digi's actually coming up with this sort of stuff, and I find it really funny and thematic.
Oh, Barnaby is fantastic.
Yeah. Which is why I went, okay, look, you want to apply a sealed effect on the guy, you don't have a sealed move, but I like what you just did, so roll that just with +1 difficulty.
Ouch, Mala. Ouch.
To be fair, there's been, like, 1 combat.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that combat was Arf being the MVP. I think he did do the most damage.
Probably.
I wasn't
probably did do the most damage.
I wasn't actually paying attention to the numbers and such, but I think he did.
Yeah. Well, Arf did a bunch of stuff right at the beginning and then didn't roll too hot after. But he did basically take out one of the stormtroopers like immediately. Yeah, he basically crippled a stormtrooper right at the beginning of the fight.
Dang.
If you try to fight a astromech, you lose. It's just a fact.
Yeah. I know it's expensive, but I will remind you guys that on my item list, in the medical items, there is a cerebral stabilizer, which is very expensive, but it literally stabilizes or revives dead people. This is a canonical Star Wars item, by the way. They actually have this.
Just having revives is going to be good.
Well, Garo, the post-combat damage doesn't matter unless you have a wound. Do you keep on taking 1 damage a turn if you're winded? Until you get stabilized somehow, yes. So if you have, if you roll a medical check to stabilize them, they would stop losing HP. Or, just get their health up to a certain point, they stop losing HP. All that kind of stuff. In other words, it's probably good, if an ally has been downed or something or winded, maybe actually give them some medical attention. Even if you're not an actual medic, having some stims on you is a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, if I had thought of that, I would have made sure that Arf had some, but at least he's got some now.
Yep.
They were just all on, they were all on, Furvis.
Bacta works during rests. Stim works at any time. But it has reduced effectiveness every single time it gets used. You can, but once you rest, you need to actually complete the rest in order to gain benefit. So if you sit down to rest, that means you're taking the time to actually take that rest. If you don't do anything medical to stabilize them during the rest, yeah, they'd probably just bleed out. It's literally the equivalent of someone bleeding out and you telling them to go take a nap and you'll be better. Doesn't change the bleeding.
Yeah. Definitely doesn't.
Yeah, but to be fair, usually in lore, before someone gets yeeted into a Bacta tank, they'll get hit with a stabilizer or a stim or other things of that nature in order to, like, you know, make them not bleed out during the process, because the Bacta works it makes you heal at a much faster rate. But if you die while in the Bacta tank, like let's say you're on the edge of death and you get put into the Bacta tank, it still takes time to fix you.
But first, a piece of music to get things sounding just right.
Yes, touching electrical.
Like in the lore, yes, Bacta tank, magical substance. Does a lot of good work. It is not... You put them in the Bacta tank and they're guaranteed to survive.
Guest star in the museum should wait for help indefinitely.
Well, usually, Bacta tanks are stationed in medbays.
On the helipad.
So normally, they just use the medbay to stabilize them real quick and then yeet them in the Bacta tank. And then, like, you know, they can wash their hands of it because at that point, the person's good. Yeah, unless you're one of those poor souls allergic to Bacta.
Oh, those are a thing?
Yeah.
To be fair, at that point, Guru, there will probably be other options available to us. For example, force healing. I imagine that Barnaby is probably going to be trying to learn that. Which, it is something he'll need to actually learn, but...
Yep. Although, to be fair, at that point, you're that late game, if you don't have at least some cerebral stabilizer on you, I'm going to question your life choices. Like, yeah, sure, it's expensive, but it literally saves your life. Like, you know.
Alright, Kerr has decided we're going to do Piercing the Veil tomorrow. And then next week will be Last Hope. I decided to leave the decision to him.
Alright, cool.
Give me one moment, everybody.
Of course.
One sec, Kex. IRL interruption real quick. You know, I really hate the term interruption because it always feels so hostile. But I can't think of a better term. It is an interruption, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Be right back.
Attention grabber.
But, yeah, no, there is a reason that I said late game having it. But, you know, early game, investing in having, like, a spare cerebral stabilizer, probably still a good idea. Although I guess I will say, even if you are allergic to Bacta, at least there's still Kolto. Which is rare, but at least you could still use it. There is no known instances of Kolto allergies.
Oh, Kolto allergies. Okay.
Yeah. Because, like, Kolto is effectively, like, a magical healing liquid. And it's, like, really expensive. Bacta is literally, like, healing bacteria. We're talking about Star Wars healing random bullshit stuff. Kolto, I think, first showed up in Knights of the Old Republic. But it's gotten mentioned in a bunch of different places. And yeah, Kolto just kind of like fell out of favor because Bacta was like so much cheaper.
Because one thing is cheaper. It's going to be the reason why people die.
Well, it's also more effective than Kolto.
Uh,
Bacta is cheaper and more effective.
But Kolto's there in case you're allergic to Bacta.
Yeah, although it was there originally and now it's mostly just used as like a backup.
I see.
Yeah, specifically Bacta people have some people have allergies to it. And it's also possible to contaminate and poison Bacta to cause people to have that allergy to Bacta.
That's not good at all.
But you can also just be naturally allergic.
Alright, I am back. Sorry about that, everybody.
Welcome back.
Oh, crap.
Although I'm being pinged for something now, so I think I'm gonna hop out for now.
Oh, okay. Bye. Have a good time. Oh no, it already defrosted.
Oh no.
Dang it. That was actually expensive to get. Oh, come join Voice, Guru. I mean, if you got nothing else to do, I mean, don't have homework and whatnot, get in here. Alright, so for them to get to anywhere else in the museum, they either have to go through the gift shop or through the cafeteria. I approve. Hello, Guru.
Hello.
If you're talking, I cannot hear you for some reason.
And I can't hear you either.
With a big dig! Here on the lane to tell us the latest on the excavation at Pebbly Ruins, it's Monty Barnett. How's it digging, Monty?
Ricky, hello! Great to be with you. It's a special day. The anticipation in the air. Well, I can feel it.
Tell us about the digging.
As of yet, no actual digging. No one seems to know where the equipment is, but it's only adding to the already feelable atmosphere.
Right you are, Monty. Gripping stuff. It's like you're right there with them, waiting for things to happen.
You're reminded that the prehistoric period was absolutely ages ago.
Alright, got that.
There we go.
Ah,
Yay.
hello.
Hi.
Alright, we can get full knowledge of the printing press.
Probably help them.
The printing press. Ooh.
Yes.
The expedition team are back
Hello.
on dry land.
Hello.
Octo!
How's it going?
Oh, it's going well.
That's good.
How are you? How is work?
I mean, this week has been like very busy for me. It's the last week for Chromebook tickets because after tomorrow it's our cutoff day.
Oh.
So yeah, they're sending out a whole bunch of them. Not to mention, I haven't told you yet about what's been going on lately with the schools and about this TikTok trend that's been happening lately.
Oh
God,
no.
I hate that TikTok
Putting
trend.
things into the USB port,
Yeah.
causing fires.
Wasn't it just doing like a...
Yeah,
rest?
Yeah, they've been doing all sorts of things, like trying to shove like metal objects into the USB port to try to make it catch on fire. I've also seen them try to do the same thing
Why?
with keyboard sensors. Internet clout.
Tide Pod challenge. You know. It's
Yeah.
that kind of mentality.
Oh, this is one that really blew my mind. One person actually had a handsaw and was sawing apart their Chromebook.
Why?
You want to know the crazy thing? They're gonna be the same people that turn around and are like, when they have to pay for the damaged property, they're like, actually my family is in this tough situation and blah 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 blah. You're the one who did it.
Yeah, because if we find out that they did try to do this challenge, we are building them for a full replacement for their Chromebook. Which is the ones mostly we're seeing is the Lenovo 100s, and those are going up to over $200 for full replacement.
Whoa. I thought they were only $100 for the Chromebook stuff.
Some Chromebooks are 100, but my apologies for interrupting. Go ahead.
Well, it depends on which model of Chromebook. Like the Dell 3100 are over 300, but those are out of warranty. Like by the end of the month, so we won't be able to fix. So we won't repair those anymore. So there's no point in charging them for a Dell 3100.
Yeah, deliberate destruction also usually doesn't count under warranties.
Yeah, that's why we charge them. But yeah, it's like normally if it's like an individual part, like a broken screen, yeah, we'll charge for that individual part. Especially if it's like something they've done multiple times, because they get like one free repair for the school year now. And if they damage it again, they gotta pay. But like but yeah, because of this trend, is like we're just going, yeah, no, we're not tolerating this.
Well, good on that.
Yeah. We've already had like 12 students so far did this.
I'm sorry, how many?
12 so far. They're mostly in like junior highs, which is like
Read is that?
Yeah, which is like grades 9, 8, and 7, and I think 6.
Middle school.
Yeah.
The people who are starting to learn actions have consequences. Got it.
Yeah.
Are they?
They should have already learned it, but apparently if they haven't, they're now learning it.
Yeah. No, I was wrong. It is 7, 8, 9th. It's not 6 is still in like intermediate.
Yeah, that's middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we used to have like middle schools, but then like we keep changing out the structure.
Yeah, it depends on the district you're in.
Yeah. Because used to we didn't have junior highs, and now we're
also,
having like
real quick. Sorry, Quincy. Thank you so much for that raid. So sorry. Kind of got distracted here by TikTok trend. Apparently.
Yeah, students are destroying their Chromebooks deliberately for internet clout, and my job is to fix these things.
Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a fantastic stream. Thank you for sharing your community with me. I really appreciate it. Oh, boy.
Oh, those people better not join the military later on in their life. They're dead.
Damaging military equipment. Yeah, no.
Hey there, Geemend.
Yeah, but yeah, because this is also the last week for Chromebook repairs, like it just feels like all the schools are just pumping out like all these like Chromebooks that students like need fixing now. Like today, one school managed to fill in like 2 tote bags full of Chromebooks by itself. And normally they're not that bad, but apparently like they're especially bad this week.
So you can't actually like repair those, can you? They're pretty much totaled if they're frying the internal.
Well, if they did the Chromebook challenge or the TikTok challenge, yeah, then like they're fully paying for a new one. But there's ones that like that are accidental, and we just gotta fix them. Or
That's fair.
accidental, yeah. Or like lately with a lot of the Dell Lenovo 100s, we've been having issues with power, especially like around the battery. For some reason, sometimes the battery just gets shorted out, and we have to reseat the battery cable, which fixes that issue. Other times, it's if we're really unlucky with the Chromebook, the motherboard shorted out, and we do not have replacement parts for those yet. So they gotta wait like a few like a while before we can get replacement parts because we have to order the replacement screens through our hardware contractor. But they take months to get their hands on it because they order them through backlog through China.
Yeah.
And because they're taking so long, we have to the students, by the time we do get the spare part delivery, they've already doubled on the amount of repairs that we have to do. So we have to so we're right now looking for an alternative to where we can get spare parts.
Where I used to work, they used to try and get me to sell a Shurion protection with everything because, yeah.
Yeah.
The company I work for wouldn't really want to do a lot of the internal repairs, so it was like, oh yeah, if it's got a Shurion, you just send it off to them and they'll give you a replacement.
Yeah. I wish though that the school board would invest some money into like Chromebook like protective cases or something like that. So at least to help reduce the amount of like accidental damages that the students end up like producing.
Yeah. Like you probably get number one probably damage is the hinge damage where someone's put something between the keyboard and the top and they'd shut it and didn't realize it.
With the hinges, we don't really get too often, but like when it comes to the hinges, they really just they hit it with so much force that they snap the hinges off completely, and these are soldered in by factory.
Oh.
And 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 not only that, the hinges also function as part of the electrical circuit for the Chromebook. So if they damage that, we really can't
The
fix it,
monitor goes out.
and then we also charge for that because like that takes a lot of force to break that off.
I know that a lot of the HPs, the low-end HP computers, they actually had a problem where those hinges were just breaking.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, the cheap HPs with the recycled plastic.
Yeah. We used to have HPs, but we stopped using them because they had a and they had the batch that we got was was the effective batch, and they would short out really easily. Back when I was a field tech, and I saw a good amount of Chromebook tickets where they were handled at that time by our hardware contractor, and it was always like because their motherboard shorted out.
For those who like to smell.
But yeah, we stopped using them because of the amount of issues we have with them. And it's one of the
Announcement. Analysis complete.
But yeah, so far like the reason why like the ones we're using right now are cheaper is because again that's what the school board wants. They wanted to go for the more cheaper options.
Well, yeah.
Because
They
of
have to
course.
scale.
Yeah.
It's not buying it for individuals. It's buying it at scale.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's all bulk. But yeah, it also the reason why they're also bringing in this much volume is because last week we were doing Chromebook. It was Chromebook week, which is like what we like to call it when we get the next school year's batch of Chromebooks to be shipped out to the schools for to be shipped to be divvied out to students next year. We were doing that for a whole week, and also spending the time delivering them to the schools. And so because of that, like we had to shut down the whole facility for a whole week in order to get that done.
Yeah, that's for hospital, not museum, and also I only really do those at the beginning of the recording.
I feel like we need a Marten.
Marten doesn't like strawberries? Oh, no, it does. It's just distracted. No. Does not like the strawberry.
No, the Marten does. They just like to play.
They like the strawberry. They're just in playing mood, not eating mood.
Mm.
Funny, they brought the strawberry up to the Marten. It just falls over, heels over on its back.
Yeah. But yeah, like besides that, most of my after work, most of my days have just been consumed by playing like the Oblivion remaster.
Yeah.
I want to play that.
Yeah.
I want more Wind remaster.
Security are watching for your safety.
I know a lot of people like say that too, but I also remember I also see Morrowind's gameplay is a lot less forgiving than the others, than Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah. It lets you do whatever you wanted. It was kind of cool.
Well, that is, and that's fine, and I like that too. It's also there was no but one thing though, it is with the dungeons that you discover though, is especially in the beginner area, you're at sometimes when you go into a dungeon, it's a bit of a toss up between whether you're gonna fight something more level appropriate for you, or when you go into a dungeon meant for end game, and you end up just getting destroyed by the first enemy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Also, there were certain places you just wouldn't go. I think Oblivion did the whole level scaling a little bit better, but I think Morrowind was more zone scaling.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different kind of feel to the game. Because when everything scales with you, it sometimes doesn't feel like you're getting any stronger. It just feels like you're, treading water and everything else is getting stronger as you level up.
Yeah, level scaling has always been wonky in my opinion in RPGs in general. I know for example, Final Fantasy was back in Final Fantasy VIII was they tried to hand at enemies scaling with you, and the solution for a lot of players to deal with this level scaling was just try not to level up as much as possible, so that enemies don't get too powerful for you.
Treat it like Risk of Rain and just run through as fast as you can.
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, it's just RPGs always had a weird history of level scaling, since the for a very long time, especially with certain games. But yeah, and Elder Scrolls was no exception. Because I know it's weird to me. I know I had this conversation with another person, and and with Oblivion, it's still in there, even in the remaster. And I still think like the level scaling is a bit weird, because I always find it weird whenever you're fighting a regular ass bandit, but he's got things like glass and mithril like gear.
Yeah, that's like
yeah, and I'm just like, this is just a regular like highway robber. Why does he have like this kind of gear? Yeah.
It's like encountering the random robber with full tactical SWAT gear.
Yeah. And the next like more like criminal based like enemy that you can encounter, wild marauders, they'll even have Daedric armor, which is like the end game armor in Oblivion, like outside of Shivering Isles.
Yeah. Well, Daedric is really special armor too, because like when you normally get it, you kind of have to like put a soul into Ebon armor, if I recall correctly, is how Daedric armor is made.
Yeah.
Put a Daedric soul and you bind it to it. Yeah.
Not to mention, Daedric weaponry is like one of the 3 weapons that could hurt ghosts, because it's like because in order to hurt a ghost or any kind of like spectral enemy, you have to have either a silver weapon, an enchanted weapon, or a Daedric weapon.
Yeah. Or just cast spells at them.
Yeah, or like get at least 50 skill, like a skill level in hand to hand, then you can just punch ghosts.
Full on monk combat.
Yeah, full on monk combat.
Yeah, I'm also biased, so I liked Morrowind because it had the Blood Moon expansion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying your liking of Morrowind is bad. Again, like Elder Scrolls games are like all in all are good. Like there's no one's doubting that.
I couldn't get myself to go play Daggerfall. That one was a little too old for me.
Yeah, I mean, they are like very old games. But yeah, like throughout the whole board, like the Elder Scrolls games are all solid. Like even the MMO. I mean, like I know, like MMOs for me, like I don't really like. I try MMOs, like they're okay, but they're like I definitely need like a dedicated group to play them, or else I'm just gonna get bored real quickly.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
MMOs just make you feel lonely when you play them yourself.
Yeah.
The Elder Scrolls MMO, my only real issue with it is the monetization. That's way too egregious.
Definitely. That's a big issue in a lot of MMOs, honestly, is how monetized they've become.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just take a look at like World of Warcraft, of how much it's been monetized so much.
Yeah, I think it was a free-to-play model originally with the Morrowind, or not Morrowind, but the Elder Scrolls MMO.
No, it was a subscription originally.
Yeah. Yeah, it was subscription, then they went free to play it over time, but they just added in a whole bunch of like monetization, like things like that.
Whenever they go free to play, they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when you when a virtual house in a video game costs you $100 real life, that's too much.
It's kind of like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I think Final Fantasy 14, they actually have like a house raffle, where if you're lucky, you can win the chance to buy a house.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy's got a more insidious thing. What they do is if you get a house, you have to keep playing the game or you'll lose your house. So you constantly have to have a subscription up. So they get the money back on the house through your subscription fees over time.
Yeah. So yeah, you gotta keep playing until you get bored, and then, you know.
And then you still might keep paying your subscription because you'll lose your house and all that investment you put into it.
Yeah.
That too, Mala. The crafting material storage is locked behind their subscription, and that is bullshit.
Yeah, that's basically how they did their free-to-play. It's like you have to pay that subscription in order to play the game.
That is stupid. 100%
Yeah.
stupid.
It is a matter of... The hell?
Is that Rex? What's happening in the background?
no.
Was that Rex
That
going
is
on about?
Holo.
Oh, that's Hollow. Okay. I hardly hear them.
Oh, I think so.
One sec.
Yeah, go investigate that.
They may be watching something in there.
Oh yeah, they're watching. They're fine. I know they're fine, but that was a series of sounds.
Yeah, that was a series of sounds, alright.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
when it comes to MMOs, for monetization, I frankly hold them all to the standard that Guild Wars 2 is set. Guild Wars 2, you buy it once, and there's no subscription. If they're able to maintain that, why can't others?
Yeah.
You know, Guild Wars 2 was probably the one MMO I felt like I could have gotten okay with actually playing.
Yeah, same. But yeah, if I ever work on an MMO, or it's just being in the development process of MMO, I definitely would like it that it would be like, you pay once and that's it. And as well as like for future expansions, just like how it is in Guild Wars 2. Because yeah, I don't like the free to play model, mostly because again, like it sounds great, but then in order to make profits, they try to heavily monetize it, either through things like microtransactions for like things like just cosmetics, or hiding, or like paywalling like certain mechanics.
Cosmetic microtransactions, I'm actually perfectly okay with.
Yeah,
Nothing's...
I'm perfectly okay with it too. It's just like it also depends on how priced it is as well too.
Yeah, because even Guild Wars does microtransactions on cosmetics. The whole Lions,
the Black Lion Trading Company.
Yeah.
But there's the thing is that the way they do it is perfectly okay.
Yeah. But yeah, as long as it's not like the prices aren't ridiculous, and yeah, because like I don't think like things like a certain amount should be like, say, like $50 or $60.
Exactly.
I think it's like it should be like, yeah, like maybe like 20, 30 maybe, if you want to go high.
They do have some higher prices on their mounts, but I don't think they are quite to that point. And I think their price point for mounts is good.
Yeah.
I would prefer it to be a little less, but it's good. It's acceptable. But then you've got things like the crafting material storage. Guild Wars?
Yeah.
Anywhere you are in the world, you just hit one button in your inventory and everything gets deposited into your material storage. Boom. You're good. Move on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Elder Scrolls, you gotta pay $15 a month to have it.
Or it'll lock up your inventory.
Or, yeah, they That's another thing, is they kind of purposely make it so you cannot go into crafting unless you are paying that subscription.
Yeah.
Because you just do not have enough inventory space.
Way too inefficient to do it. You'd have to drop stuff all the time and only go for one craft at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like but anyway, back on the subject of like level scaling, like or enemy level scaling. I personally like Skyrim Oblivion, or Skyrim, and even to a degree like Fallout 4's level scaling. Because in that one, it's also region based. Like for example, I think like Whiterun enemies can go up to like say like level 10, I believe. But the farther you explore out from the center of the map, the stronger the enemies can get. As well as also depending on which dungeon you go into, because I think like one dungeon is like the enemy scale like always with you, like no matter what level you are. So like you could end up fighting like end game enemy, like common enemies.
Yeah.
Like it.
I don't think Fallout 4 or Skyrim actually care about what level you are when you go into a dungeon. It will be based off that level. So it'll be based off the quest you get assigned. So you'll go talk to an NPC and it'll give you a random generated chat. They call them radiant quests.
Yeah.
And your radiant quest will then go to one of those procedural generated, but they're not procedurally generated. They're just preset dungeons. But it'll add a bunch of procedural.
Yeah. Yeah, like depending, if the quest marker takes you to that specific dungeon, yeah, it'll reset the cell there.
And it'll populate it with enemies at your level.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that it was like region based as far as the difficulty enemies. In fact,
yeah, like this, I've discovered that like not too long ago that it's a bit region like based as well too. Like, and as I said, also the Fallout 4 does it as well too. Like the farther you move away from Sanctuary, the more higher enemies you can encounter.
No, you do not need to buy the loot boxes, Guru.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how that key mechanic worked.
Honestly, you get so many of the boxes. And if you do, for some reason, want to buy some, they're like 16 copper on the market.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, that's another issue I have with like some MMOs is like some of them still try to use like loot boxes, and I hate those with a passion.
I will agree that the Black Lion chests are they are a loot box mechanic, but
yeah,
I don't ever feel like I have to have it, which is important.
Yeah.
Really, all that's in them are cosmetics. And even then, the cosmetics it doesn't feel like you have to have them. And you do have the ability to get tickets from the loot boxes that you can then go exchange for specific skins that you want.
Ah. A mulligan mechanic. Nice.
But yeah, like I honestly do not like loot boxes personally. Like I feel like they can get very predatory really easily, and that's like for example I know loot boxes have been around for a very long time thanks to Team Fortress 2, because but Team Fortress 2 didn't take it up, didn't crank it up to the point where now at one point pretty much almost every game series was doing it. That has to unfortunately go to Blizzard with Overwatch, because I swear after Overwatch, the first Overwatch came out, that's when everyone was getting on board with the loot box trend.
It was actually, I think the biggest one was Star Wars Battlefront.
Well, no one
started with
we didn't have. Yeah, it started with Overwatch. It didn't get to the point where people were getting into starting to get so mad at loot boxes that legal issues were coming up until Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I think the first ones that got sued was actually like a soccer game.
Oh yeah, FIFA is also really notorious for their loot boxes as well too.
They were the first ones who got the legal action, but the problem with
yeah, like both the FIFA series and Star Wars Battlefront 2 were both like published by EA, so yeah.
But like it was mathematically proven that like if you wanted to play as Darth Vader, you'd have to spend money on the game and a decent amount of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people are rightly upset about that, and I don't blame them. Even though I love Star Wars Battlefront 2, I played that game a lot.
Battlefront 2 was great. That was on
Yeah.
PS2. But then they make like a PS3 or PS4 remake, and that was the one that had the loot boxes. And
They
all
weren't
that.
remakes. They were technically more along the lines of a reboot.
Yeah, they were more of a reboot. But yeah, that Star Wars Battlefront 2, I played both versions. I played the original classic version and then the one by EA. Honestly, I thought the multiplayer were incredibly fun to play.
Oh, yeah.
And I played, as I said, I played a lot of that game. It's just like at the but yeah, EA tried to monetize it heavily, and it took a while for DICE to undo all of that, especially to the point where there's no way you can spend money, real life money on the game after you buy it, which is good because I'd rather just buy like because they add cosmetics now, but before they had like the whole loot box things. Now you just straight up buy them with in-game currency that you don't spend any money on, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather just straight up be able to just say, okay, I played a couple of matches, now I want to get my favorite skin that I can just buy directly. I don't have to get lucky with a loot box.
Yeah, you kind of have to build the modern gamer has to build up an immune system to microtransactions and learn to not care about the cosmetics of a game if they do that, or just not play the game at all.
Yeah, because it does take, because I don't have to tell you, a lot of gamers when they have character customization, they either like to make in the case of it, with Oblivion games, they like to make monstrosities, or they want to be the coolest looking person around. So they'll have all this all these cosmetic options on there, and I want to say that's the case a lot with say Warframe.
Yeah. Well, Warframe isn't so bad, but there are a lot of cosmetic things in Warframe, but they kind of space them out so rarely, and there's not a lot of loot box mechanics in Warframe to try and get cosmetics. But there's a lot of FOMO in Warframe, which is the problem.
Yeah.
If you don't buy this when it's out, you won't get it for the next year and a half unless you're lucky and have a tracker on that game so you get notified when that item pops up again.
Yeah. My big issue with Warframe is how heavy the grind is. Especially if you want to get certain drops. It's pretty bad.
I remember using those keys way back when, and you'd have to just go through it and you try and survive as long as you could, just hoping that you'd get that one piece of Rhino Prime.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the worst thing is when I find a cool game and they release some really cool werewolf cosmetic, but I missed it.
And then you're like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Requires medical attention. Not this again.
Such cool skin and everything, and I can't run it because y'all removed it before I could do anything.
What?
Yeah, Beerus, you're right. Battlefront 2 did have the pay to win because Vader was just better than everyone else.
Yeah, because when they originally tried to make it pay to win and I really, again, reason why everyone was rightly pissed about it, because Vader is honestly really strong in that game. In fact, I consider him to be out of the heroes and villains, he's I consider him S tier because of how much health he has. Vader's pretty much a tank.
I remember in the old
Like-
game. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like he's got like one of his abilities is like for one thing, Vader can get like an upgrade, like because you can select like 3 upgrades for your heroes, and one upgrade is you straight up just increases base health, and then he's also got this one ability that gives him not only temporary health but also damage reduction.
Yeah, I remember like in the old game, you could play as Princess Leia, and she could just flat out be invincible.
I know in Battlefront 2 originally Leia was not great until she got a rework. Then she became really strong. Like I remember when her rework came out, like originally her bubble shield, she could deploy a bubble shield that can protect her and people inside the shield from enemy fire. In the rework, it gives you a heal. And it can even heal Leia, especially her lost health, because heroes, whenever they lose health, if they get damage to a certain point, they take chip damage to their total health overall, so they can't regenerate health. And the only way to regain the health back is to kill enemies.
Oh yeah, it was the lightsaber bar.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty much like the lightsaber bar in the old game. But yeah, like Leia, her bubble shield could heal her, and restore her like total health overall too.
Hey
and
there,
which is
also,
which
dang
is
it, you
really
guys
strong.
are making me want to go play the original Star Wars Battlefront games.
Yeah.
I remember those, and I remember going through the campaign. And it was my Helldivers before Helldivers was a thing. You know, you'd play as the Empire, and you'd go and you'd defend your planets against the Rebellion Scourge, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I remember like getting the purple blaster because I was so good at using the original.
Oh yeah, like the
45
purple,
kills
like
in a
3-round burst, like late purple blaster. Yeah. But yeah, that game was fun. Like,
it made Star Wars games so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I also like. I know, like, I don't like to. I know I don't like to complain about the canon, and what's canon, what's not, because like honestly I like both. I don't mind that like one's considered non-canon and they eventually add like parts of it to the canon side of things. But the one thing I will complain about is they did the 501st dirty in the new canon, in which like after the Clone Wars, the 501st were like more like at this point Vader is like I don't care about these people anymore, and his main people is now like the first Stormtrooper Legion, and the 501st was relegated to to duties no one wants to do.
They were like the what do they call them? The ones that they send for like suicide missions, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. But I don't have to tell you, like, for one thing, Vader is a very complicated person. And, and also, like, tragic hero turned villain, kind of, like, which is, like, this is reason why, like, him, like, he's caused, like, so many problems, but then he, like, in the end, he tries to do the right thing by destroying the Emperor. Like, it's one of the things, like, that makes Vader, like, a really good character. Is like the fact that he's done all these bad things, but then he finally gets a moment of clarity and realize, oh, this is the things I'm doing is bad, and I need to save my son.
Museum surveillance. There's a camera in here.
I have been really enjoying the Star Wars game we've got going, though, because we run off of Legends rather than official canon.
Yeah, I really should have like tried my hand at it, but at the point, like, I was also going like, I'm in a good amount of games already. Like, I don't know, like, it's just like part of me was also going like, do I have the time for it as well too? even though I did like the character concept I came up with for my character, because again, like I like the whole Mandalorians, and my idea was to have like a Mandalorian that could eventually become a Jedi, because the whole idea of like the first ruler of Mandalore was a Mandalorian Jedi was like cool to me. Because the whole I like the idea of like the best of two worlds, you know, like the whole like you know, like the Jedi Guardians and all that, keepers of the peace, but also like this one particular Jedi has like a warrior heritage to him with the Mandalorian side. So I wanted to incorporate like both of those things into my character.
Oh, you made a Mandalorian.
Yeah. That like was force sensitive.
By the way, quick reminder, everybody. Conrad was mugged, and they stole his phone and stuff, and so we're trying to raise money. We're doing a fundraiser today. Just quick reminder, tip goal is set up. If you guys can help with that, it is greatly appreciated. There is the tip goal there. Please consider helping out if you can.
Yeah. Would commissions also help him out as well too, I'm assuming?
Yes, you can also commission him for a 3D model or something.
Because I do got some projects I want to like hand him out, because I might have some things where I need to have some like objects created because of because of things that I cannot unfortunately get, like I cannot purchase, unfortunately, so I'll have to have them created.
Oh, like CAD stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly like things like clothing and stuff like that. Like I wanted to get these certain clothing items for my avatar, but I cannot get them. So I decided, you know what? At some point I might have to commission Conrad to like straight up make him from scratch for me.
I hope Conrad's still
He
around in a
could
year
absolutely
or so.
do that.
Yeah. Oh, and there's also like I showed you that video Zim in our DMs where apparently you can an avatar maker I know managed to port armor from Monster Hunter Wilds and have it and put it into a VR avatar that they made. And that honestly, I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a cool idea.
Should stop feeling paranoid. Unless you're a thief, you can keep
That is pretty cool. I love how Zim's armor is so shiny.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Conrad would rather just make it all from scratch.
Yeah, I do eventually would like to have a custom model made. It's just, you know, it's gonna be a while before I get to that.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Especially when especially when I want to add stuff onto it. And that can get expensive depending on how much stuff you want to add.
It would be really cool. Maybe, like I said, in a year or a half. I'll probably be working again then, and then maybe I'll get something. But as it is, it's like, oh, I could get a 3D model, but then I just feel really bad I can't use it in my VR system because I'm too tall.
I mean, for me, it's mostly just like, I just got so many things that I see from other makers on like Gumroad, and I want to get them. And
That's fair.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't look because then I'll want it.
Yeah. Plus, I don't mind looking at like the avatar bases that I see people make, and I'm like, oh, that I think Octo would look like nice with this base.
One sec. So you mean for the tip there, Key? It's not working? I know sometimes people have had problems with it with specific browsers.
The expedition team.
Have you tried opening it in a separate browser?
Oh, I know what Key is talking about. Key, I know I have the same issue. I know it works in Microsoft Edge and Firefox right now, so you can just right-click and then bring it over. Right-click, copy the link, and then just bring it over to one of those, and it'll work.
Harrison Wolf on
So if you don't have the link, I mean,
Radio. You're listening to the Wolf Man, Harrison Wolf.
I think you can just
Key, in your case, I can absolutely just send you my PayPal email, and I don't like to give it out too often, but, you know,
more elusive radio after this.
can just do it that way. There won't be any notification, though, so...
yeah, I always watch them on Chrome. I wonder what's gonna happen tomorrow. That's gonna be such an interesting campaign.
Which one?
Yeah, like the early Friday one or the late Friday one that I'm in.
Oh, you're in the late Friday one?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, I thought you were in the early Friday one when you're talking about a Mandalorian that was a Jedi.
I mean, technically I was before that campaign got for like the other campaign. You know, like the Last Hope guy I think got fully replaced. I don't know what's going on with that campaign right now because I left it for personal reasons.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was debating about going for the Star Wars one, but I ended up like going like I didn't do it because I felt like I was.
Are you you're the healer in the other campaign, right? The one that on Friday?
No, he is the punch puppy. He is Cobalt.
Yeah.
Also, Key...
Yeah, I'm Cobalt.
Key, Agents of Reflection is on Saturday this week.
I might just have to throw my legendary card on that pirate ship when that lands.
Oh.
No. I have a one of those Emporium cards.
But yes, I am Punch Puppy. I am Punch Puppy Cold.
Yeah, you're the cool character with the interesting backstory and the interesting aura.
Yeah.
I was so worried you were gonna die that one campaign. I ended up using the Renesis card and the heal one person because I was like, oh no, and I'm so glad you didn't get swallowed up in the Pokeball. You weren't there and they swapped you out. I was like,
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I was pretty lucky on that one too.
I'm kind of rooting for you.
Yeah, because I'm also not playing the combat smart like I normally do because I'm trying to like go like I'm trying to think what would Cobalt do in combat, and unfortunately me and Nova share the same brain cell and we want to go after the biggest, strongest person around.
Plus you don't want to get too angry. I've seen what happens when Cobalt gets too angry.
Yeah. Which, depending on how other sessions go, I mean, that might come up again. We don't. I don't know.
Well, I'll be keeping a keen eye out.
And I'll be honest, parts of me does want to go, and some in my intrusive thoughts definitely wants to tap into that a little bit more too, just to see, just for the drama.
Careful what you wish for.
I know. But my love for the drama, like, will win over sometimes.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. It's a part of your character. Unless you manage to get rid of it.
And we'll see.
Yes, we will. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And yeah, you totally, like, cussed out the gods and didn't get hit by lightning. I was very afraid that Arceus was going to hit you with lightning during that fight.
I'm surprised it's been me and not someone like Narashi, who straight up goes, I want to kill Arceus for giving me the curse that is Nova.
Oh no, Narashi was the one that got hit by the lightning.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did get hit by lightning.
Not lightning, judgment.
Everybody got hit by lightning.
Yeah, it's that they didn't get the sweet release of death.
Oh no, they all did. Everyone died except for Nova and
Rain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't die. I was dying, but I didn't die. And I was right next to Rain.
Technically, in that situation, your heart did stop.
Welcome.
Yeah, you just got
okay, fair enough. If we're going to technicalities on like what is technically legally dead or not.
Just resubscribed for 23 months.
Werny. There's my good boy. Thank you for that resub and your 23 months of support.
But yeah, that whole situation was just ridiculous, because for one thing, Rain's like squirrel-like attention span.
Yeah. Oh, he was more concerned about the it was the perfect
it's like,
time
Nova, you're bigger all of a sudden when I'm lying like right next to him. Like, yeah.
I definitely. I'm so glad I used that Rain assist card. I have no idea what would have happened if I hadn't.
Rain would probably just let me die because he's so worried about Nova being a Jolteon.
Nova was bigger.
He's bigger now.
I had to be sure.
When the GM yells at you that your teammates is dying, or is pretty much like almost like dead right next to you, and you're worried about something else, I think that's a sign that you need to focus on the thing that they're complaining about.
This
Don't look at me, he's your pet.
All sorts of sounds from Zim. We've heard a laugh and a growl.
Medical attention. Not this again.
All I can say is they're not all winners.
Yeah. I'd give you guys rare candy if I could, but I don't have any. Next time I get a rare candy, though, it's gonna go to you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys.
But yeah, yeah, like we would definitely appreciate the rare candy.
Oh, it'd be like, what is it, like 10 EXP and something? It's like, oh, you're just enough to wonder what you should do with the EXP.
Yeah. It's like, oh, something nice.
What's the deal with fish?
Hey, I give you guys nice stuff.
You do. I'm not saying you don't.
I literally just delivered you all, you know, to a resort. Like, come on.
I'm not like, did that happen at the end of the last session? Because again, I passed out the end.
You know where you were with the Pokemon trainer? He delivered you to the Pokemon trainer? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What about?
Pokemon trainer must have come from a resort. That was like a big reveal that you guys are kind of like beached on the middle of like some sort of human place.
Okay. Is there doctors there?
Probably.
Okay, good.
guys haven't
Cobalt's
left
planning.
You'll have
Okay.
you'll have to look and find out.
All right. So kidnapping is still on the table. Let's go.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, you know what? I might send Greaves early. I might not. We'll see. But good luck. Just careful you don't tap into your dark side too much when you're kidnapping doctors.
No promises.
Yeah, I was wondering if that, honestly, if that Pokemon trainer was going to get you mad enough.
Maybe, I don't know.
Kinda glad he didn't.
That was a close one.
Especially when he put you in a Pokeball.
I know, right? Like, that's enough to get punched.
I thought it would have been like, you know, I guess if you hadn't fallen asleep, it might have been enough to make you, like, have to tap into something to not be in a Pokeball.
Yeah.
Especially if you were about to get carried away.
There are plans I have for the game.
Oh, I know. You are quite the planner, Zim. You make such interesting stories. But you should have seen it while you were gone. Like, 8 people pulled a chain so that they could actually hold on to a Pokeball. And they actually stopped a Pokeball from going back to a trainer.
I'm still upset about that.
Hey, I tried. I didn't know that when I obliterated their die that they'd get all their stuff back. So I was trying to make sure they'd use all their stuff and then, boom, wipe it. But that wasn't how that worked. I learned. But I was trying, Zim. It was quite traumatic, and it would have given him a reason to go after the trainer. Well, that's the thing about Streamloot's cards. It's designed to help you tip the scales one way or the other for the story. Especially when the GM makes the party do like 4 consecutive rolls because they really want it to go the other way.
Announcement. Information stands are there to explain exhibit.
Well, no, it wasn't because I wanted it to go the other way. It's because that trying to keep a Pokeball from going back to the trainer is incredibly difficult.
Feel the backhand of justice!
Pokeballs
Yep,
kind of break all rules.
Ooh. Frost is going for a Streamloots pack for the tabletop.
There you go, Frost.
Now remember, we've got, like, Garu's Blessing with 31% off. So you too could meddle with the tabletops. I try. I want you guys to be able to bring that wild chaos. I don't know, primal magic?
Museum security.
That one actually was, I gave that to everyone on May the 4th because I wanted everyone to have plenty to be able to mess around with our tabletop if they wanted to.
Oh.
Watch, one of these days I'll land a 50% off coupon. One of these days.
Oh, yeah, you might.
Announcement: crates should be opened, not
I mean,
left waiting.
they did break the Pokeball. I don't know. This has never happened before.
Oh no, they 100% broke the Pokeball.
Oh dear.
Actually, no, I don't want that one.
Pokeball.exe has encountered an error and has been forced to stop.
No.
This season, the second Sunday after St. Barbara's Day, in most cooperating cinemas, Roderick Cushion is...
Oh, that is a good point. We did learn that Pokeballs don't have the perfect environment for every Pokemon in them because they lack food. I mean, depends on how long he's trapped. Is he a crowd favorite?
As a bullying target, absolutely.
Oh.
Oh, this makes sense why Beerus likes them. Then, yeah, well, good luck. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll have to go back to the original trainer that they had to yank the Pokeball from in order for them to get him out. I hope not now. That'll be exciting. Good luck, you all. Well, good thing Tofu's overpowered and can just, you know, psionic.
Stuck in the museum. They may need
I loved how, like... Huh?
I was gonna say, I got another Pokemon character idea in case of any future Pokemon-related campaigns that I join in.
Oh?
But yeah, go ahead. Say what you were gonna say first, though.
Oh, I was gonna say, I just loved how Tofu tried to, you know, Arceus was like, you can't do damage to these people with his divine powers. He was like, okay, if you try and damage them, the damage will get reflected. Your attack will bounce back. So Tofu was like, okay, I'm just gonna knock them over the edge. There, I'm not doing damage. I'm just gonna let the environment kill them.
Yeah, Arceus isn't that stupid.
And unfortunately for, well, fortunately for Tofu, the Pokemon trainer was too heavy to lift with his psionic powers, because he was going to lift and toss him, but he was not strong enough, and I was too slow to throw my ephemeral influence at letting him be able to do that. Which is probably good for him, considering.
Exhaustive expeditions may be exhausting.
So Key, that sort of thing used to fly up until the humans attacked Arlem's Wilds. That is no longer something that will be possible at all.
Is this perhaps why Arnhem's Wilds got attacked by the humans? Oh no. Secret Pokemon war crimes being committed. Oh, I'm always pro chaos. Cass. Or Arceus.
Key, Carcerus, whichever.
It's like Arceus, but it's Carceus.
Key, Arceus does not have favoritism of the humans.
No, just standards for the Pokemon.
Exactly. He believes a Pokemon to be superior to humans, and thus holds them to a higher standard.
What happens if they kill a human and they don't know they kill a human? Especially with their, like, you know, huge overpowering powers that can break buildings and stuff. I think of, like, you know, earthquake and other things like that.
I suppose we'll find out.
Okay, that's fair. And it would have actually not killed the human, ironically, because if he had thrown him over the edge, instead of landing in water, he would have landed in a crowd of people. Because you guys are surrounded by a crowd of humans who are, like, freaking out because a giant pirate ship just crashed in the middle of the town. So that's fun. So everyone just watched you guys, like, you know, yank that Pokeball from the trainer. It was great. I think so too. But I get why a storyteller wouldn't want to make that ruling until it happened. The god isn't foolish, but then again, depending on how the god's mood is, maybe they'd make them make amends. You know, it's not something they'd want to. Yeah, that is a very good point, and technically, I think like that was like a thing. Collateral damage from those giant. There was like a red dinosaur-looking Pokemon that was like in the center of the Earth that was causing tectonic.
Groudon.
So it's like, oh, well, technically they're indirectly causing casualties. And then I don't even want to talk about all the ghost types. The balloon Pokemon and the
Drifloon.
Yeah, this the character idea I got for for any future Pokemon games, if that I'm not using Cobalt, I got this idea of like a Time Mage style Pokemon. That I think is pretty very interesting. It's gonna be using I think what was the Scarlet and Violet generation? Think Gen 9, I think.
What would it be? What type? Like Astral and Psychic? I don't know. What is Time?
Well, it's well, I mean, the poke with the typing that we're with the Scar typing, it's gonna be like a basic Mythic type.
Oh, Mythic. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. That's what the Lothwolf is Mythic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Generation 9. Okay. So yeah, the Pokemon I'm gonna be using is a Gen 9 Pokemon.
Yeah, Primeval Initiative would be what you're looking for there, Octo.
Oh yeah, Primeval Initiative is cool. It lets you shuffle around the initiative orders and use that to, like, do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I need to play more with the Primeval stuff, like as Cobalt, more, because especially by the time he becomes a Lucario, I definitely want to do like things where he can use his aura and stuff like that.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be keeping an eye on Cobalt.
Yeah, because I mean Lucario is the aura Pokemon, so I might as well have like things that are like primeval abilities that are like aura focused.
Lucario is one of my favorite Pokemon.
As far as that goes, we are trying to figure out Primeval Aura itself.
Yeah.
So that is something that is coming.
Yeah.
Soon, TM.
not to mention that, like, Cobalt needs to like eventually build up his own fighting style, since he is just using Pokemon moves. And his whole one of his whole stick is like is him trying to build like a fighting style that could beat his father.
Harrison Wolf on 2
Which is gonna be really tough because like in the way he sees it, like his father's fighting style is pretty much invincible.
What is his father's fighting style?
I don't think I told Zim yet, but I think I was workshopping the name of it, but I was gonna call it like something like the like it was something like the adamantine fist style.
Yeah. Raw power.
Yeah.
Well, could always just improve on his unbeatable style. I mean, if you could figure out how he does things, then take your own take on it.
Yeah.
Mithril fist.
Or like, but yeah, it was like something like that, or I think I was gonna call it like liquid metal style or something like that.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So weight redistribution, like judo style stuff.
Yeah, like something like that. It was like I kind of based it like the idea of the fighting style off of like Mishima style from Tekken.
You are correct, Gibcat. We do not have a mythic player in AOR.
Ooh.
But yeah, I'm trying to basing it like this, like the fighting style off the Mishima style from Tekken. If everyone I'm pretty sure at least a couple of people have heard about the Tekken series video game, because Tekken's been around for like PlayStation 1.
Yep. Tekken 8's really fun.
Yeah. In fact, I kind of based a little bit of Kobold's backstory off the Mishimas from Tekken. In fact, I straight up kind of have Kobold's dad be a bit of a mix of Heihachi and Kazuya.
He's the guy with like the. It looks like bird hair.
Yeah. He's got a goofy looking hairstyle, Heihachi. But,
yeah. It very much reminds me of what is that guy? I'd have to actually look at how he fights, but he looks very much like the guy from Street Fighter, who's like the big villain behind.
M. Bison.
No, not the guy with the hat. He's the other guy. He just looks like he's like. Well, maybe it is this guy.
Akuma?
Isn't it? Yeah, it might be Akuma.
Yeah, is he kind of like an evil version of Ryu?
Yeah, he kind of looks like it's Akuma.
It is Akuma.
Yeah, I just looked at the image and I was like, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually an evil. Right, but go on.
Yeah, and I know there's like an evil version of Ryu. It's like when Ryu like just goes full on like angry Hulk mode. But yeah, I felt it was also appropriate to base my characters like a little bit of their backstory off of Tekken, especially when Tekken made a Pokemon game.
Oh.
Yeah, like Pokken. I'm pretty sure some people have heard of that game.
The museum should provide
yes.
engaging experience.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, Pikachu Libre was the Heihachi of that game.
That's kind of really cool. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it definitely is a thing.
Talking
but
about
yeah,
go on.
Go ahead. But yeah, it's like the people who made Tekken also like made a Pokemon fighting game, and it's pretty fun from what I saw.
Yeah. It's not a US release from the looks of things, but that is pretty cool.
No, it was.
Yeah, it did have a Pokemon.
Okay, I just saw the prominent, like, kanji, and I was like, oh, it's foreign. No, they've got a US release. That's cool. It's kind of new, because it's on the Switch.
I think it was on the Wii U, but then they got ported to the Switch.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah. I think it was one of those games that like were on the Wii U. And I have to tell you, the Wii U's like life cycle was pretty bad.
I skipped the Wii U, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I bought the Wii U, and I only played one game on it, and that was Star Fox Zero.
I really liked the Wii U as a concept. The problem is that they did terrible marketing for it. That's what held it back. Because they decided, oh, we're not really going to market this, and so as far as I was aware, as somebody who monitors the gaming industry as part of my job, I had no idea that it was even its own standalone console. I thought it was just an add-on for the Wii.
Yeah. The name is not unique. I mean, to be fair, I mean, they had the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, and the Nintendo 64, and those were all just called the Nintendo, but the Wii usually was the whole thing was it was motion controls. So when I would think of Wii U, I would think, oh, it's just another motion control thing. And I don't know if you remember, like, Skyward Sword with motion controls, but it wasn't the most fun game. It was fun, but when the motion controls wouldn't line up and you'd keep getting hit by the zappy attacks from enemies. Also, to be fair, when I played Skyward Sword, I didn't know about the whole lightning trick on the final boss. So I had to no hit the boss, because if you hit the enemy's sword and you didn't do anything about the lightning, you just get zapped. So that was a fun game. But speaking of obscure fighting games, have you ever heard of the Bloody Roar series?
I actually have heard of that series.
That was a cool game.
But yeah, I this one YouTuber that I occasionally pop in to see one of his videos about disasters and development of not just video games but like movies as well. Like he also does fighting game content a lot as well. And he did cover Bloody Roar.
Yeah. It was just such a fun concept. It's like, oh, have a bunch of lycanthropes fight. You had werebats, were-rabbits, were-tigers, which actually kind of reminded me of some of the old Street Fighter type characters.
Yeah.
The world, you know the ones.
It also makes me think of the old Darkstalkers series as well too from Capcom.
Space. Aliens aren't just among us; they are us. Harrison
What game from
Wolf,
Capcom?
Planet Earth,
The Darkstalker series.
Oh yeah, John Taiban and
yeah. Yeah, because there was characters in that game that transformed into some kind of unworldly character or creature. For example, there is a werewolf character in that one. There's also things like a mummy. One character's like a succubus.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also
anime.
it was pretty much an anime, yeah. But again, it's Capcom, so yeah, that you always expect stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it was actually like an anime on TV. Darkstalkers. But the game was like a port to the gaming.
Yeah. But yeah, it's unfortunately that's a series that's pretty much dead at this point now.
Oh, yeah, same thing with the Bloody Roar series. They did have a crossover thing with their own version of Super Smash Brothers, where Solid Snake got to fight a werewolf. But that's about it.
We apologize for the insufficient number of information stands.
Nowadays, Solid Snake fights Kirby.
Well, yeah, it was a crossover with Solid Snake in a fighting game before Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
but it was a Japanese exclusive, so we didn't get
Yeah.
it. They had like Bomberman and a whole bunch of other characters. Conrad's at the point where it's looking like he's making Puro or something.
Puro?
The...
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Took me a moment.
Yeah, big white mask.
Attention, the expedition team are leaving.
Yeah, Capcom made a lot of things. I think they made Mega Man.
I think so.
And that's disappointing because I really liked playing the Mega Man X games back in the day. And now I think the last two Mega Man games that came out were like gacha games.
Yeah, I haven't keeping up with like Mega Man games in a very long time now.
Yeah.
I did like the Mega Man X series.
Yeah. X was like pretty much like the mature grown-up version of Mega Man original. Where you know, it was like, oh, they added this new mechanic which changed the entire game. You can now climb walls. And the active ability to jump off of walls repeatedly gave the character like a third dimension. It was no longer like a left and right side scroller.
Yeah.
Brian the Wolf is petting
like the.
Aw, thank you.
Well.
Yeah, but like nowadays, like I think like the only continuation of the X series has been like the Zero spin-off series, I think.
Technically, the X series finished with Command Mission, which led into the Zero series, where there was the Elf Wars that took place between then and Command Mission, and apparently, like, X sacrifices himself to prevent the Elf Wars, and he dies canonically in Mega Man 02. But yeah, then that series technically has another time gap after it, and you had the Mega Man ZX series, which kind of was a different one. It was actually the first one where you had, in the side-scrollers, where you had a human protagonist. But he does, like, the Power Rangers thing, where he merges with the Biometal and then turns into whatever Mega Man that he's got at that time that he's using.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as Mega Man X games go, though, there hasn't been like a mainline entry relating to that universe since PS1. No, PS2. PS2. That's how long it's been. It would have been, I think Command Mission was the last game they made that actually had the X characters directly tied to it. I know there's this really, really, really cool fan game that someone's been working on for a really long time called Mega Man X Corrupted, but other than that, there's just no interest from Capcom to make a new game.
Yeah. It also depends on what Capcom's mood is like, because again, if it's something like a main series like Resident Evil, they do not mind pumping out another like spin-off or something like that, or a new main game series in the Resident Evil series. But if it's something like more obscure, like they're like say the Darkstalker series, they'll be like,
Well, I can understand the Darkstalker series because it's not a primary series. They don't own Darkstalker's IP. That would be like them making like a Dragon Ball game. It's based on an anime, so they were licensed to make that game, and then you know.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just interesting that like even today though they'll still have like they'll do like little like crossover content of that game in like their other games.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, I think Zero was in that. And also Zero was in, there was like another game that was kind of like a turn-based strategy that had like all of their IPs.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike like Castlevania is actually getting like third-party contents where they're actually like making full zones and extra things. Like Vampire Survivors did stuff.
Yeah.
And so did Dead Cells.
Yeah.
But as far as
Castlevania is interesting because for one thing, like I mean that one's like that one's Castlevania is a Konami game, but like Konami is like
Konami is the worst.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. They're very bad. Honestly, like it's a toss-up between them and Square Enix on which Japanese game company is the worst, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm glad Kurai's not here tonight.
Oh no.
No, but that's fair. No, he liked the MMO, which apparently isn't even run by the Square Enix folks.
Yeah.
Square Enix used to be great, to be fair.
Yeah, they used to be great, but they fell off hard. But yeah, especially with their new CEO, like I know he's big on the NFTs, and one of the first things, like the one person he's in charge of 14 and 15, he was like, we're not putting NFTs in our game, and because he's such a big name in the industry and in the company, the CEO was like, okay.
Yeah, because he would have just done the thing the Castlevania dev did.
Yeah.
Technically, they fired the guy who made Castlevania.
Yeah.
And he went off and made a Kickstarter for Bloodstained and generated a whole bunch of revenue, and that's how we ended up with Bloodstained.
Oh, yeah, and there's also Hideo Kojima too, because again, like he left Konami too, and he went and made Death Stranding.
Locked away for
big names like that.
Yeah. Which Death Stranding, like a lot of people like, I know I thought it was an alright game. I didn't beat it because again, like it's an interesting game in my opinion. I didn't think like it was like it couldn't hold my attention long enough for me to finish it though, unfortunately. But I know but I think it's a good game. I think like people should give it a try.
Yeah, I got that on like a Humble Bundle or something. I didn't buy it when it came out. It very much felt like one of those cool, high-concept art-y games, kind of like Nier Automata, where you have like lots of depth and secrets, and like the whole playing the game, the journey is the experience. So it seemed like it would be a fun one.
But yeah, that like it's definitely one of those artsy. The journey is like the real experience, not the destination, and that's kind of how like a lot of games should be, especially RPGs.
Yeah.
Because like the main reason why I love like the Elder Scrolls series so much is again because it's the journey, not the destination. And I encounter a lot of things that even I didn't encounter back when I was like a child on an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Like for example, I never did the Mages Guild quests, and back in that day, and I feel like I missed out on a good amount of stuff.
Yeah, I remember I did every single guild I could, but I remember the Mages Guild was the most annoying because in order to get in there, you had to go to every other town. It was an easy thing to miss.
And I found out like I remember Zim, I was in a stream with you when I told you about the main bad guy of the Mages Guild quest line. It turns out that the King of Worms. It turns out that guy was also a character in Daggerfall, which I found interesting.
That is rather interesting.
Yeah, so he's a recurring character. That apparently like the hero in the second game I think it was either Daggerfall or Reno's the second game. But yeah, he's like one of the characters that you can side with, and he's trying. And in that game, apparently, he was trying to ascend to godhood.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap. If you actually like pay attention to the lore in Elder Scrolls series games, there's a lot of stuff that carries over from the first to the second to the third.
Yeah.
And, like, there's like a theory that the Daedric Prince of Madness is actually the character from Oblivion after his campaign.
Yeah, because after the Shivering Isles DLC, the main character of Oblivion, it pretty much becomes Sheogorath. It's just how he changed physically into him, like in the 5th game, is like a bit of a mystery, especially like for me who likes to play as an Argonian. Is very interesting that he's like looks like the Sheogorath that we all know and love.
I think it's the whole point is that when you assumed his identity and you became him, you became him, and it subsumes who you were, which is kind of like a bad thing, but you know, you also said the godhood, so subjective.
Yeah, it's a bit subjective about like, you know, like he's a god, but he's the mad god.
Mm-hmm. And then like the Nevermean from Morrowind, like each one of the main characters has a name and their lore continues. So you're probably going to see the Dragonborn in the new Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, like with the last Dragonborn in Skyrim, it's kind of a toss up about what's going to happen with him, because I know like if you with the Thieves Guild quest line, he could be with a Nocturnal because of the whole Nightingale Pact, but there's also Hermaeus Mora, who has a very big interest in the Dragonborn.
Oh, you totally play Faust, and every single one of the chosen heroes plays Faust with the Daedra, because the Daedra all want that interesting character who's this pivotal point in plot. So because he's so significant, they'll all like offer him whatever he wants. As far as mine goes off to live in the Beastlands because he gives himself over to her scene. So, you know, it really depends on, you know, that's what I liked about the series, is that there was no real, you choose what your character does and who he ends up teaming up with.
I mean, you can even team up a little. You can even like be enticed by Mehrunes Dagon, who was like the main antagonist of Oblivion.
Oh yeah. Because again, even the Sith recognize that you're the most powerful being in the land. Honestly, I would have liked it if I could have made my character go and completely destroy the Aldmeri Dominion.
I'm really hoping that in 6, that's the main focus is combating the Aldmeri Dominion, because God, I personally feel like elves get a bad rep, but especially from like a series like say like Warhammer, because you know the asshole elf like stereotype is a bit of a thing in Warhammer. But oh my. The Aldmeri Dominion they are some grade A jerks, and like I honestly I do not mind people being a bit racist towards elves in Elder Scrolls because of them.
So I love how that quote for the end of the quote story of Key was in reference to Key. Era was referring to you, Key, with that quote.
Because it's like wasn't the I think if I remember right, this is actually like the 3rd Aldmeri Dominion. Like this is not the first time the High Elves wanted to do like to make an empire of their own.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I didn't really have anything against the elves up until the Aldmeri Dominion. I never even I just thought it was like a silly thing, like, oh, in Dwarf Fortress the dwarves don't like the elves. It's like a but like they did a pretty good job of making them something I didn't like in this game.
Because yeah, it's the one time where I'm like, okay, yeah, these elves deserve it.
Yeah, and
but I'm also because I'm also I play Argonian a lot. I also have a problem with the dark elves as well too.
Oh.
I mean, they enslave Argonians and Khajiit and whoever they can get their hands on it sometimes.
Yeah, sounds like typical dark elf.
Yeah, typical dark elf stuff. But like, I mean, they're not like. But these dark elves are not like, like say the Warhammer dark elves.
Oh no,
Yeah.
or the D&D dark elves. In fact,
Yeah.
they're a little bit better than the D&D Drow, so that's good. However, you want to know, they're bad to themselves too. Like, the Dwemer were considered a type of Almer. Or elf.
Yeah, they were the snow elves, if I remember right.
No, the Dwemer were not. They magically disappeared because of one of their.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking of the Falmer.
But they enslaved the Falmer, who were the snow elves. So it's the elves enslaved themselves, effectively another subrace of elves, and they were fed poisons, which caused them to go blind and become frail, and then they adapted to it and became
Yeah, the Falmer that we all know from Skyrim, with with how they are. It's like a little bit taken from Tolkien a little bit with how orcs are, because orcs were originally elves that were corrupted by Sauron.
And I think aren't orcs considered elves as well in Skyrim?
Oh, if only Tao were here for this.
Oh, he'll have field
Tao would have a field day with you two.
God, yeah.
I would probably point out how everything that you guys are saying is wrong, and
of course he would. Of course, yeah. Because there's nothing. Because yeah, like every nerd just loves the hell thing about what are you talking about? You're wrong, and the whole the accolade of being right in nerd culture.
To be fair, Tao backs himself up.
That's pretty much Elder Scrolls experience. Very, very, very right, Demon. Apparently, the next time I play Elder Scrolls, I'm going to end up getting Paint as a patron.
Gee.
I didn't know Paint actually talked.
Cafe food
Gee.
may taste cheap, and that's because it is.
But he was quoted, and it was not just she.
But yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna look that up real quick with
Oh, I see what it is. It was because he was playing as Paint when he was playing Guild Wars, so it was pseudo Paint.
Yeah.
It wasn't true Paint.
But yeah, no, you'd probably get his leather ball as like an item in Skyrim if he was a Daedric prince that you could end up allying with. And you'd throw it and it would just do like a different elemental effect every time it hits something. That's my guess. But I know very little about Paint.
Gee. There have been a few times where Paint has almost spoken, Key.
Guests are reminded that science makes conclusions based on observations.
Really? Well, that's interesting. He doesn't really need to, though. Like, he can convey images and stuff, so because he can do that, you really don't need words.
Okay.
Oh no, sometimes you need words. Charades only get you so far.
Okay, so according to the Elder Scrolls wiki, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages.
Ryan the Wolf has activated the tail cam.
Oh, this would be interesting.
Yeah. Tail.
Hey.
But yeah, so according to the wiki, the orcs were apparently elven followers of Trinimac, which is an elf god. but he got he was tortured and then later transformed by Boethia, and turned him into Moloch, which is the god of curses. And by Moloch, I mean Malakath. And his followers, the elven followers of him, became cursed and were made into the orcs or Orsimer.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's a bit from like Tolkien, like Lord of the Rings lore, with like the elves that were corrupted by Sauron would later become the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the elven account of the orc origins.
Yeah.
There's also a claim that they are actually like beast folk or Betmer.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the elvish name for beast folk is Betmer.
Apparently, yeah, there was Betmer in the game, and that would have been interesting to play as. Apparently, Khajiit are Betmer.
Yes. Argonians and Khajiit are considered beast folk or Betmer.
Lil Moth Fleet. Apparently, there's wolf ones. That's cool.
Yeah, there's also fox as well too. Like there was in Black Marsh there was a nomadic race of fox folk, but they migrated like out of Black Marsh and no one has seen them since. But they're called Little Moffat. That's what they're called. Or
hey
like
there, Frost. Of course you'd know that.
Yeah, I know. We don't know what they look like, but so far the only thing we have to go on is like an ESO concept art of them.
Ah, okay.
There's also like tiger dragons and 8 men as well too in the Akavari region of
And some accounts say that the Emperor turned into a dragon. Oh yeah, Khajiit are interesting because when they're born determines what kind of Khajiit they are. They range from just like fully sentient little cats to full on like, you know, normal looking humans.
Yeah.
With everything in between, including giant lions.
I know with Argonians, they're pretty much called hatchlings until they reach adulthood, then they get a name.
Thieving anomalies. Let's kick things off with a question from Christian.
You know what the Argonians remind me of?
Who asks, do
the
stone
Sylvari
carvings
from Guild
depicting
Wars.
Humans and carnivorous dinosaurs cohabiting in caves suggest that these dinos were actually house pets
I guess.
predators.
They both come from
To
a
answer
tree.
your question, Christian,
Yeah,
here's
the
Professor
worshipping of the
Hamish
hiss is a
Turnbag
big
from
in
Ebony
Argonians
Sanctuary.
culture.
Professor.
Hello, Haley. It's an interesting question, but I'm personally not.
And yeah, like the hiss is like they're pretty much a race of sentient spore trees.
Yeah.
Me neither.
And in Argonian culture, there's pretty much there's 2 forms of worship that they do. There's the Hist, which is our main one, But there's like a subgroup that worships Sithis.
Sithis?
Yeah, Sithis. It's the Sithis is pretty much a very dark god, and
Yeah.
in fact, yeah, he's worshipped. In fact, he's worshipped by
was
all the
married
members of
to
the
the
Dark
Night Mother.
Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I recognized it. I was like, wait, Sithis? Yeah.
Yeah, Sithis. In fact, in fact, Argonians that are born under the sign of the shadow are pretty much are recruited from birth to be assassins for the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's like the Darth Vader's patron deity.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, they even have a name for Argonians that are born in the shadow, and recruited in the Dark Brotherhood. They're called Shadow Scales.
No.
The camera room is currently offline. Don't do anything funny.
Oh, apparently Argonians are idiots, according to the chatbot.
Oh.
No.
The chatbot. How could you? All right. Hold on, I gotta see what's the reason. I mean, there's only you only encounter 4 shadow scales. Oh, and I gotta mute the tab a bit because I hate hearing my own voice echo. Yeah, there's 2 shadow scales that you encounter in the Dark Brotherhood. There's another one that's a rogue one that the 2 send you to kill as a side quest. And then there's a Vizara in Skyrim who's kind of he considers himself the last shadow scale.
Why new ones aren't born?
At that time, in Skyrim, the Dark Brotherhood's organization is all over the place because they do not have a listener, and the listener's the only one that can commune with the Night Mother.
Oh, I thought that was Cicero.
No, he's just the keeper for the Night Mother.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he pretty much guards her, takes care of the Night Mother's body. That's all he does. He's just a guardian.
But aren't there sects of the Dark Brotherhood in every continent?
Yeah, in fact, Cicero was originally part of the Cyrodiil sect, but because of the war between the Aldmeri Dominion and the Empire, they ended up finding out about the location of the Night Mother location, so and also the war threatening it. So Cicero had to move the Night Mother's body to Skyrim.
Ah, okay. That explains it.
Yeah. But yeah, there are different Dark Brotherhood cells throughout the throughout Tamriel. It's just during this time, because again the organization of Dark Brotherhood is all over the place at this time because there's no real leadership anymore. The Falkreath one in Skyrim is, to everyone's account so far, to what I know of, is the last cell.
Wow. I know in both games you can wipe out the Dark Brotherhood, so.
Yeah.
But it was hard to want to because they had a cool werewolf guy there. Doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but.
Yeah, he just.
You are biased.
Calls you. Yeah,
Also,
he just calls you meat unless you did the companions questline first, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, I know that smell. You're part of the companions, aren't you?"
And then he still calls you weak or pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't warm up until after you deal with Cicero again.
Also, I don't think you could ever actually defeat that sect of the Dark Brotherhood because they figured out the secret to one of them figured out the secret to true immortality.
Hmm.
It's kind of kind of a Bethesda game meme. The vampire is a child sprite, so children can never be killed in Oblivion or any of the Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, there wasn't children until, I think, Skyrim. And they made all children
Fallout
essential
3.
in Skyrim.
Fallout 3 was the engine that first had started that trend.
Yeah.
Because you could kill children in Fallout 2, but you'd get a permanent debuff on your character called Child Murderer, which would make it so everyone automatically hated you. But in Fallout 3, they were just flat out unkillable. Even if they are a 3,000-year-old vampire.
I really need to play the Fallout games at some point as well. The only one that I've actually played was 76.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Zim. I never played 76, but I knew not to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, same. I mean, I've heard it's much better now.
I had a close friend who was a huge fan of Fallout, and so I went to play it with him, and this was when nobody knew anything about it yet. And then we get in there, and it's like, one, he couldn't even play it. The game was completely broken for him. And then we just kind of were like, this isn't fun.
I'd rather play ESO.
Yeah, that's a really bad Fallout title to get started into the Fallout series.
Yeah, it's the ESO of Fallout.
Yeah. Well, like, at least ESO is decent. Like, as I said, like, because, like, again, the Elder Scrolls series is, like, good, like, all across the board, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a theme.
But the Fallout 76, the launch was a huge disaster.
Yeah, in every single possible way. Like, even if you were a backer who got the deluxe edition.
Yeah. Like...
Fire Husky, thank you very much for that follow. Welcome. So now we got a Frost Husky and a Fire Husky.
Oh.
No. But yeah, like, say what you want about the other, like, Fallout titles. Like, I think they're good. Like, I know, I think, like, they each of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. I honestly don't think, like, one is the superior one. Because despite what a lot of fans of New Vegas love to say, because I don't have to tell you, New Vegas fans love to say that theirs is, like, the best one ever, and there's nothing that the other games beat.
They're different. They're not better or worse. To be honest,
yeah.
Fallout 4 is the most modern experience. It's actually pretty good if you want to not have to worry about, like, low-end graphics. You can also mod it to be really, it's the latest in the series.
How the hell did you wind up with a 48-hour shift? Holy crap, Fire Husky, go get sleep. Rest.
Yeah, seriously.
Get sleep right now.
That's like medical industry sort of shifts.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, like, New Vegas has the better story out of the three.
Oh, okay, Firefighter makes sense.
Yep. I knew it had to be, like, EMS of some sort.
Yeah. I like 4 for its gameplay and also how they handled power armor, because I honestly really loved how power armor is in 4.
Yeah, power armor in 4 was a good step up. I also, everything doesn't break in Fallout 4, which is also really good. Having everything that breaks in Fallout 3 and Vegas was,
Yeah. And in 3, I honestly, I think it was like, while, like, I think it's good. I think it served as a good basis for both those games, because, like, New Vegas, I feel like was pretty much like 3 improved.
Wait, hold up, I got a story thing. Your robo-janitor is back online. It seems the sickly pears weren't as safe as initial tests suggested. Left to rot, the sweet fruit turned sour and incredibly volatile. Bizarrely, they've even been conducting electricity and causing our robotic issues. We can neutralize years of rotten fruit by reaching the facility's water treatment center and purifying the supply. We're done experimenting. It's time for final results. Hello, human. Apologies for going haywire. It was not what I or my creator intended. I hope you will accept the empty promise of a discount from Bungle Technologies. We appreciate your patronage. Please be advised, while haywire, I sent several robots to clean the water treatment center. You see, it was overgrown with sickly pear sludge, and now it's also overrun by haywire robots. Oh boy. Well, hello there, Artie. How are you?
Howdy. I'm gonna have to head out so then I can get to PT, but I will catch y'all later.
See ya.
Take care.
See ya.
For all.
Was fun.
Even though I barely could talk at times. The conversation.
Yeah, I know. I've been yapping a lot today.
Yeah.
Kinda nerded out about games.
I will catch y'all later. Stay safe.
Yeah. Seems like we both like to talk a lot.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 was wide. Fallout New Vegas was deep. They were both very good for different reasons.
Yeah. Because I do, with 3, I do like, it starts you out in an open world, like, and you can go in any direction. The New Vegas map was too linear. Like, like if you wanted to not go towards Prim, the only way you can get past the others.
Real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and switch games here. We'll rather take a small break before we get to DevTales. But thank you everybody for joining us so far on the stream today. That was 2 Point Museum, as well as an Odd Marten stream. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. There on the website, as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, picking up packs of cards to stream loots, using our Humble Bundle partner link, or subscribing to us on Streamloots as well as YouTube. But for now, thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to grab some merch over at zgfgaming.store, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.
See ya.